Welcome to the Geostrategic Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching or listening. Imagine a fighter jet that doesn't need a runway. Now imagine 20 of them defending an island smaller than New York City. Singapore just changed the rules of air warfare forever. The 2026 arrival of the F-35B isn't just an upgrade, it's a $2.7 billion message to the superpowers. The poison shrimp just grew fifth-gen teeth that are nearly impossible to hit. If you're obsessed with military tech and global strategy, smash that like button, share this with a fellow defense nerd, and subscribe to stay ahead of the curve. But I want to know your move. Is Singapore now the most dangerous air force in ASEAN, or is this a massive gamble? Don't hold back, drop your hottest take in the comments. I'm jumping in to reply to the Borless theories.
It is definitely a bold move. But when you really start to peel back the layers, you see this isn't just about buying shiny new hardware.
Right.
We're looking at a fundamental shift in how air power is going to work in Southeast Asia. It's about survival physics as much as it is about geopolitics.
That's exactly what I want to get into. Because, on the surface, a vertical landing jet seems like a cool feature, but we are talking about billions of dollars.
Huge amounts of money.
So the last updates confirm it. Singapore gets its first F-35B Lightning II jets by 2026. This is the STOVL version, short takeoff and vertical landing. It can hover, land anywhere. But, let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Singapore has Changi Air Base. They have Tenga. They're not exactly short on runways.
Mm-hmm.
So why pay the premium for a jet that acts like a helicopter? Is the runway situation really that dire?
It's worse than dire. I mean, you could say it's the single biggest vulnerability in Singapore's entire defense plan.
Yeah.
You just have to look at the map.
It's tiny.
It's about 280 square miles.
Yeah.
There is zero strategic depth. In military terms, strategic depth is, land to fall back on, places to regroup. Singapore just doesn't have that.
Right. If you back up too far, you're in the ocean. Or, another country.
Exactly. And in any modern high-intensity conflict, fixed infrastructure like that is the first thing to go. We call it runway denial. If an adversary wants to neutralize the Singaporean Air Force, they don't have to shoot down all the planes. They just need to crater the runways in the first, say, 10 minutes of a war.
And if you can't take off, you're not an Air Force.
You're a warehouse full of very, very expensive metal. That's it.
So the whole logic here is if the main runways get hit, the F-15s, the F-16s, they're all just stuck.
They're grounded completely. Yeah. Sure, you can repair a runway, but that takes time. Time you just don't have when missiles are coming in.
And this is where the F-35B comes in?
This is where it changes the entire math. It doesn't need that 10,000-foot strip of pristine concrete. It can take off from a damaged airfield using just a few hundred feet between craters.
Wow.
It can use reinforced highways. And Singapore already practices this with Exercise Torrent. But here's the real game changer. It can operate from dispersed, austere locations an enemy wouldn't even have on their target list.
So instead of one big, obvious target, you just scatter these fifth-gen jets all over the island.
That's the dispersal doctrine. You make the enemy's targeting problem a nightmare. If your jets can just pop up from a highway or some remote site, the enemy has to watch everything.
You can't just hit Tenga Air Base and call it a day.
You've effectively made the Air Force impossible to ground. It's a massive strategic advantage.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's the part in the news that kind of threw me. They're not just buying the vertical landing ones. The total order is for 20 jets, but it's a split buy.
Right.
They're getting 12 of these F-35Bs, but also 8 of the F-35As.
The conventional takeoff and landing variant, the A.
Exactly. And that confused me a little. If runway denial is the big threat, the main reason for the purchase, why bother with the A model at all? It needs a runway just like the old jets.
It's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of their strategy. It's about physics and different mission profiles.
Okay.
The F-35B is, it's an engineering marvel. But that vertical lift capability, it comes with a massive penalty. Behind the cockpit, there's this huge lift fan.
I've seen diagrams of it.
That fan is just dead weight whenever the plane is flying forward. It takes up a ton of space. Space that could be used for fuel or, weapons.
So it's basically hauling around its own personal elevator system all the time.
That's a perfect way to put it. And because of that, the B has a shorter combat radius. We're talking about 450 nautical miles. And its internal weapons bays are smaller. It's a knife fighter, built for survival.
And the F-35A?
The F-35A is the sniper. It doesn't have the lift fan, so it carries way more internal fuel. Its combat radius is over 600 nautical miles. It can pull 9 Gs in a turn, where the B is limited to around 7.
A lot more performance.
And it can carry bigger weapons internally, like the heavy 2,000-pound bombs. The A is the heavy hitter with the long legs.
Okay, so now I'm starting to see it. The B is the insurance policy.
It's the ultimate insurance policy.
Yeah.
It guarantees they could always get planes in the air no matter what. But the A's are for projecting power, for loitering for long periods over the South China Sea, for deep strike missions. The Air Force chief called it a blended structure.
Endurance from one, resilience from the other.
You got it. It's a really smart hedge. You get the best of both worlds.
I want to pivot a bit to the strategic side of this, though. We mentioned the poison shrimp idea in the intro. You know, Lee Kuan Yew's concept that Singapore should be small but indigestible.
Painful to attack.
Right. Does getting the F-35 just make the shrimp spikier, or is something deeper going on here?
Oh, it's a fundamental evolution of that doctrine. The old poison shrimp was about inflicting cost, making an invasion too bloody to be worth it. With the F-35, we're moving into what some are calling information dominance.
Information dominance.
It's not just about kinetic strikes anymore, blowing things up. It's about getting inside the enemy's decision-making cycle, the ODA loop.
Observe, orient, decide, act. The classic fighter pilot concept.
Yes, but in the 5th-gen world, it's all about processing speed. The F-35 isn't just a fighter jet, it's a flying data center. It has this incredible suite of sensors that just vacuums up data from the entire battlefield. And get this, it does it while being almost completely silent.
You mean stealthy?
Well, yes, physically stealthy, but I mean electronically stealthy. Older jets, they have to blast out radar signals to find targets. It's like screaming, "Here I am," in a dark room.
Right. A huge giveaway.
The F-35 can use its passive sensors to build a complete picture of the airspace without sending out a single ping. In the crazy congested airspace of Southeast Asia, that ability to see without being seen is the ultimate advantage.
So if you're an adversary, you might not even realize you're being tracked.
You almost certainly won't know.
Yep.
A Singaporean F-35 could be tracking you, identifying your systems, and sharing that data, all while its own radar is off. It creates this profound uncertainty for any potential aggressor.
That's terrifying.
That's the new poison shrimp.
Yeah.
It's not just, I can bite you. It's, I know exactly where you are and you will never find me.
We have to talk about who that aggressor might be, though. The news always uses this polite phrase, the Indo-Pacific security landscape.
Which is code, of course.
It's code for the rise of China's military and the South China Sea. How does the F-35 fit into that specific picture?
It's the elephant in the room. This whole purchase is happening against the backdrop of China's modernization. We're seeing their J-20 stealth fighter, their advanced air defense systems like the S-400 deployed in the region.
The A2AD bubbles, anti-accessory denial.
Exactly. Those bubbles are designed to keep older 4th-gen fighters out. For an F-16, flying into that is a suicide mission. But the F-35 was designed from the ground up to be the lockpick, to penetrate those bubbles.
So it gives Singapore access to airspace that others are locked out of.
It does. But you have to appreciate the diplomatic tightrope that Singapore is walking here.
They're always so careful to say it's not aimed at anyone in particular.
Absolutely. The official line is always defense and prevention. They have massive economic ties to China, their biggest trading partner.
Yeah.
But they also rely heavily on the U.S. for security and training.
So buying the F-35 is a way to anchor themselves to the U.S. security umbrella.
Without having to host a permanent U.S. base, which would be a red line for Beijing. It's a very, very expensive balancing act. It gives them what they call strategic autonomy. They have the best tech, which comes from the U.S., but it ensures that in any regional crisis, Singapore is a player that has to be taken seriously.
A queen on the chessboard, not a pawn.
A very powerful queen.
And speaking of working together, let's zoom out. Singapore isn't going this alone. They're part of a growing club of F-35 operators in the Pacific.
A huge club. You've got Australia, Japan, South Korea, and of course the U.S. forces stationed there. By 2035, there will be something like 300 F-35s in the Asia-Pacific.
And they can all talk to each other.
That's the secret sauce. It's an acronym. MDL.
MADL.
Multifunction Advanced Data Link. It's a secure, high-bandwidth, stealthy data link that lets all these F-35s share a common picture of the battlefield in real time.
Like a high-speed encrypted whisper network.
A perfect description. But it's more than just jets talking to jets. This is the sensor-to-shooter concept. Imagine a Singaporean F-35 flying deep into contested space, totally undetected.
Okay.
It spots a hostile ship. Instead of firing its own weapon and giving away its position, it just beams the targeting data through MAD-EL back to an F-15 loaded with anti-ship missiles or an Allied destroyer sitting hundreds of miles away.
So the F-35 becomes the eyes and something else becomes the fist.
Exactly. It's a massive force multiplier. It makes all the older gear smarter and deadlier. This is what strategists call deterrence by denial. You make the battle space so transparent to your side, so networked, that an enemy realizes they can't possibly achieve surprise.
Which puts that price tag, what was it, $2.75 billion for the first 4 jets, into a new perspective.
It's steep, but you have to look at the total cost of ownership. And remember, Singapore didn't rush into this. They've been part of the F-35 program, watching it, since 2003.
Wow, over 20 years of window shopping.
And that patience really paid off. They avoided all the early bugs, the software glitches, the costly retrofits. By waiting, they're getting the mature, fully lethal Block 4 version of the jet.
They let everyone else be the beta testers. Very smart. But what about the rollout? I read their pilots are training in Arkansas right now.
Ebbing Air National Guard Base. It's another strategic move. Singapore's own airspace is, well, it's tiny. You can't train for complex, long-range engagement.
Right, you cross 3 borders in 5 minutes.
So by keeping a detachment in the U.S. until 2029, their pilots can get thousands of hours in vast training ranges, integrate with U.S. pilots, and become true experts on the platform.
So by the time the jets actually land in Singapore, the pilots are already masters of the system.
They hit the ground running. Day one, they're fully operational.
So wrapping this all up, it seems Singapore is moving beyond the poison shrimp. This is something way more sophisticated, a networked, stealthy force that can hide anywhere and see everything.
It's a clear message to the entire region. We might be small, but we are always watching, and we are impossible to pin down.
And that is a powerful message. It's incredible how technology can completely redefine the limits of geography. Thanks to everyone for listening or watching. If you want to understand how the world is changing, I invite you to listen to our other deep dives.
And if I could just leave you with one final thought. In the past, air superiority was about who had the fastest jet. In the future, it's about who has the most resilient, most powerful network. Singapore just bought the master router for the entire South China Sea.
That is a thought to chew on. We'll see you next time. If you found this discussion valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the Geostrategic podcast for more in-depth analysis on topics that shape our world. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay tuned for the next episode.